My name is Charlotte Fradet. I'm the producer of the Funding the Commons residency in Buenos Aires. We just wrapped 3 weeks of collaboration, of friendship, of late night debugging and 3 a.m. sessions on how to fix the world's most pressing issues. It was a lot of fun, but also a lot of heart and meaningful work. And yes, James just joined us. Perfect. And for those who don't know what the residencies are about, basically we bring together builders, developers, entrepreneurs, academics, and ecosystem leaders, and we bring them in this container, and in this very multidisciplinary environment, they engage in peer-to-peer learning, but we also bring top-notch mentors, people who actually build things that matter, such as Roger Dingledine, who was with us the first week. Is the co-founder and lead architect of the Tor project, and he's going to be speaking in this stage just before lunch this morning, so I really and highly encourage you to catch his talk. But yes, this residency is really an intense container. It's a lot of fun. It's very energizing. It's also challenging. What also we're trying to do is to have a strong culture of accountability. Our residents are sharing their goals publicly. They have to share their updates regularly. And we really try to create this gentle, productive pressure to make sure that they keep making tangible progress on their projects. And yes, so we have with us today Stefi, Stefi Pereira she's a founder of XYZ Data Science. We have our other resident, Sara Johnstone, who is the co-founder of Relay Founder, which is a crowdfunding platform for refugees. And we have our very own CTO of Funding the Commons, James Farrell. So before we start, I would like to ask James maybe if you have any other comments you want to add to the residency on why we do the residencies and what challenges we're trying to tackle.
Thank you, Charlotte. Yes, residencies are super important. Actually, I came to learn during our residency that a lot of the early ideas of protocol labs were established during such sort of similar circumstances in California. Indeed, Juan Bennett spent a lot of time in places like this, and indeed Vitalik actually visited on the way also. And we know also that Vitalik himself spent a lot of time co-living with certain different types of communities. So, I mean, we have an established history of the value of spending immersive time surrounded by people who are forward-thinking. It's certainly a process of upgrading for everybody who's there to be able to teach each other and to learn and to share. I mean, everyone has different perspectives of life and experience and different skills and knowledge that they can share with each other. And there's a certain type of magic which can happen when you have these conversations late into the night, like until 3 in the morning with Roger Dingledine every night. And then wake up the next day and are able to continue these conversations over breakfast. So you have this like long-lasting deepening that takes place that can only really happen under such a container.
Actually, I would like to riff on that. Like, for our residents, like, what's the piece of advice you received from a mentor or from a peer that really helped you push your project forward? Any of you?
I'm happy to start. So I, like many of the residents, was really fortunate to spend a few days with Roger. And one of the conversations that really impacted me was Roger was really challenging me to think about how I'm building infrastructure and either reinforcing or disrupting power structures. And I really appreciated this perspective and also just his insights. To have him in the container for 5 days was actually pretty life-changing, I think, for a lot of us. But he really has created such a meaningful network with 8 million users a day. We'll hear from him more later. But to have someone like that in our container, challenging us and pushing us and asking critical questions for us as entrepreneurs at early stages of building was really influential for me.
Yeah, for me, little context, I was doing research on time back return on the grants given by Web3 ecosystems to projects, so basically time back return on funding. And I arrived at the residency in an inflection point because I have done research and I was in a point that I couldn't see it being scalable, I couldn't see it being applied in other places, and I was basically deciding to move on with another topic. And talking with James and other people that have worked in open source software, I had a lot of ideas, and having their expertise, that's something that I don't have, because I have always worked in closed source companies, really helped me understand that the way that I was going was not a really nice way, it would not have a lot of return, and actually brought me back to my research and figuring out how to unlock scalability on the methodologies that I'm trying to apply.
Thank you. Another question that I want to ask is what connections or collaborations you feel will survive this residency? And I actually want to ask you, Sara, because you've been a collaboration monster. It's been really funny to watch you every week, every few days. You were coming up with new collaboration with our residents. So yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I think for me, the residency was really successful in that I was able to enroll a lot of residents into understanding the problem that I'm trying to solve, which is getting aid into refugee communities. And I think that enrolling people in that problem and having more minds thinking about that was really critical. So there were a few invaluable partnerships that I made. One was with a cryptographer. We're experimenting with a digital artifact that I'm very excited to showcase actually later today. And we'll use this as a fundraising mechanism for refugee communities. Also, I had a designer from Logos that was in the residency who was working with me on an ongoing basis and helping me with user journeys and design mechanisms and rapid prototyping. And that is really invaluable too, to be able to do that in such a confined space. I also had the Relay ID team who was there. This is a side collaboration project with Human Wallet and Holinum and our partners RefUnite. And this was the first time we were all in the space together. So we were able to ensure that we're building interoperable solutions and have a lot of conversations around shared learnings and ensuring we're building the capacity of the larger container around this problem of aid in the humanitarian aid crisis right now.
Beautiful. And Stefi, maybe do you want to share some concrete achievements that you've done during the residency? Be specific. What exists now that didn't exist a few weeks ago?
Yeah. So as I have said, I was in that inflection point that I didn't understand if I could apply the research in different ecosystems, and I was about to give up and try another topic. And in the residency, because it's hard to understand how much validation you get from being in the residency and how much connection you can get. So I could connect with connections from people that were there to validate the need for that research. And then from there, I understood what was blocking the scalability. And I could develop a script, and I'm not going to talk about the code here, but something that automates a key point of the model that I need to apply. So right now I have this piece that can put together, can let me scale the research to other ecosystems too.
Thank you. And I feel like that brings me to think about how do we measure the impact of residencies, because I think they're really catalysts for people and for projects, but sometimes it's a bit intangible to measure the impact. And James came up with a great solution for this. I would love you to talk more about it, please.
Yeah, this is my third residency, and it's my responsibility to tell the data-driven story of the success of the residency. So I this year decided to try to make my life easy and push responsibility down or across to other people. And so we built a platform which the residents could then use in order to document their projects. And you can imagine some kind of nearly social media-esque looking thing where you have the ability to have a profile for yourself that you own, that you can take ownership of and expand on. and a place to add your different projects and to give different updates on these things, and you can comment and like. This was super interesting because it allowed us to create a data-driven graph of impact where we can see that Sara made an update here, it's a log in time, I can like this, I can comment on this, and this is a sort of indication of quality. And over time we were able to build this out also through being able to thank each other in a Telegram channel, which was then also adding this data into the database. And so over time we've built out this kind of impact graph of impact within the residency, but also the interactions between people in the residency, because this is where the real value comes. You know, we've heard people talk about this, how you can have a cryptographer helping you in your project, you can have a builder helping you with the POC, but how do you even document that, or how do you even reflect that in a way that the impact of this is taken forward into the success of the project? So it was an early foray into the experimentation of what could be possible around documentation. We had an AI-generated way of assigning metrics, impact metrics for each of your projects. So you could go there and click a button and it would send your description and your updates into an LLM along with our database of hundreds of impact metrics. It would automatically select those for you and generate new ones if they didn't exist. And then this is on the road to the sort of air quotes later destination. I didn't want to say final destination, but we're generating a hyperboard out of the residency right now, which is essentially a collection. You can imagine like a billboard, basically, which is a collection of hypercerts, which are generalized impact certificates. This generalized impact certificate was actually being built during the residency, also the V2 of that. And this is a project which came out of Protocol Labs, which essentially aims to bridge the funding gap between early stage research and venture capital. Because a lot of research is done, papers are created, and then later on in the story, venture capitalists are able to kind of fund early stage projects, for example, but there is this funding gap. And this is particularly problematic in the public goods space where we are absolutely focused. So these impact certificates are built as a mechanism to bridge that gap in order to allow people to contribute early to projects and be attached to the future success of those projects. So we're building these hypercerts into the platform itself. The project of hypercerts exists outside of the platform, but the idea is to build that into the platform, and then the data that backs these hypercerts, that backs these impact certificates, will actually be the data that's gathered during the residency. And this will later be put into a sort of federated Web 2.5 storage place that's not a database, that's called @Proto. @Proto is the underlying infrastructure that's used for Blue Sky, which is a social media platform that's an alternate to x.com, for example. But @Proto itself is not specific to this kind of Twitter or this x.com or Blue Sky use case. It's a more generic social graph technology upon which you can build any sort of social media. So we're super excited about this technology. We feel that the future of social graphs and social tech is absolutely vital to the future. And so super excited to have worked with the Hypercerts team who was building V2 within the residency, have them embedded with us, have them working directly with people in the residency, and super excited to kind of build out this prototype of what documentation of impact could look like in a transparent, verifiable way.
Thank you so much, James. Yeah, you really nailed it with this platform. It really helps to streamline the event production of residencies, but track impact and also gamify collaboration. So really good job. I think it's probably time to wrap up this segment on the residency. If you want to see a concrete output of the residency, I really invite you to come at 4:35. We're going to talk about a live case that we've done with some of our residents and a local NGO called Mujeres 2000 who give microcredits to women entrepreneurs. And we run a live case in IAE Business School with Hector Rocha, the director of the IAE Business School. And it's really a beautiful illustration of the type of connections and collaboration that this residency is meant to unlock. So if you want to see a concrete example of beautiful multi-stakeholder stakeholder collaboration, please meet me here at 4:35. Thank you so much, Sara, Stefi, and James, and see you this afternoon. Thank you.